All right, what's up, everybody? This is Los Angeles Chronicles, episode 30, underground podcast coming live from LA. I'm your podcast host, Malcolm, and you will get the real deal. You will get no BS, no ads, no YouTube ads. We won't even ask you to like, comment, and subscribe. You will listen to the real deal, unfiltered, no lies. So this episode is about the LA fires because we have been the talk amongst the globe, actually. So people have been asking me about the LA fires, like people from around the United States calling and texting, asking if we're okay, if we are alive and safe. And yes, I am alive. So yeah, this episode's about LA fires, man. So first of all, I want to turn back the clock a little bit. So this is actually last month is when it happened, and here we are a month later. But turn back a little bit, like what happened right before the LA fires were, like what's going on, like what do people think about when they think about LA? Like what are one of the top 10 things that people think about? And the answer to this question is the Dodgers. So hey, look, the Dodgers won the World Series. That was a big deal, and actually about the craziest thing I've ever seen around the city was like the reaction to like them winning the World Series, and like people spinning in the middle of the street and waving flags and yelling and making a fool out of themselves, so that happened. But the good thing about that was like just to see everybody happy, and it was more of like a unity as opposed to everybody not people being kind of against themselves and cold to each other, and not on the same page and out for themselves. So the Dodgers won, and then shortly after that, we had this LA fire thing to deal with. So me personally, like that day, I worked at Lyft, and I was out there that day. I went to the Long Beach airport for my first time at that airport, and I made like $37 that day. And then here I am, like waiting for a ride, and had the car parked and just watching videos and waiting for the next ride. So later on, I had to go to Fat Burger. I'm like, man, I really want to go to Fat Burger, and I went to the location that closed down. I mean, I really don't have any business going there because I can't afford it, but here we are acting on the impulses and everything. So the location closed down, and they turned into like Wild Wings or whatever. So I went to this other one, and it was super expensive. It was like $12 for the damn Fat Burger, and they charged $2.10 for the ranch dressing or the ranch sauce. And then actually wrote a letter to the corporate office about 4 days ago, and I went to the public library to write the letter to the corporate office. And the reason for the library was because I refused to pay the Microsoft the software, like the subscription for $100 a year to have Microsoft Word. So I just need to mail the letter off, and then we're good. Anyway, so after the Fat Burger, I get a call from Dharma brother or homie Peter called. He said, "Hey man, there's a big windstorm, and I already called Andreas because he's in that area of Altadena, and yeah, you should go home." So they got to save the day. So I was like, I'm so hard headed. I probably would have stayed out there that night, even during the wind. But it was a pretty which is actually really stupid. There was just like a brutal windstorm on the way back. So I was on the freeway, like the 110 East freeway, going back home, and then the wind was, I've never seen anything like it. So people asked me if I wasn't in the fire, but I was in that windstorm on the way back, and that was brutal. And I didn't listen to any crazy music. I listened to the Medicine Master Buddha mantra on the way back. So I was like, yeah, if I die, if I get hurt, at least we're listening to this, and on the way out, and that was a smart decision right there. So anyway, I got home, but it's not like you could see the wind, but you could see the car was moving, it was all this rustling and debris on the when we were going like everybody else was going like 45 miles per hour on the freeway on the 110 East. So here we are. The next day it was really weird. Made $8 that day, and I parked the car and waited for a ride with Lyft. So I think I was sitting there for like an hour and took a nap, went to sleep. I was in the Silver Lake area, and what happened? Oh yeah, and then I got a LAX request to go to LAX for like $17, and then I declined the request. So then after that, I just came home. So, but it was pretty much slow for everybody. But you would think everybody would be like evacuating that day and then wanting to leave LA or whatever. But I'm just glad I wasn't in that area. So people ask about like, if you don't live here, you ask about like what areas that were affected by the fires, and like basically it was Altadena, Pacific Palisades, and Hollywood Hills, and the Angeles Forest, like those areas, and yeah, the Hollywood Hills too. So PCH Highway, which I haven't even been to those areas since the fire, except for Altadena. So it's known as, we called it the rich fire, because guess whose house burned down? Rich people's houses burned down, not the poor people, but which is more, it's more like a combustible area in the poor neighborhoods, and then the rich areas. Some of it didn't make sense. It was like, here's a famous person's house supposedly burned down. It was James Woods. He was in Casino and Videodrome and Another Day in Paradise by Larry Clark, and then his house burned down, and then I heard he lied about it, but I don't know. So, but apparently the house across the street from him was still standing strong, and then his house burned down. And then some video on YouTube, it was he said, here's Pacific Palisades High, it's like Pally High, it burned down, and then all these buildings you can't get back. So basically, like, it's not like 9/11, but it's on the level of devastation, like almost to 9/11. So I mean, on a level of devastation for us. So it's been a big deal. It's been kind of, I don't know, should I say depressing? I don't know. It's just we have to get through it. So here we are, and 5 people, I think 5 or 7 people I know personally, their houses burned down. They lost everything. So yeah, just be grateful. And then what happened was there was some kind of like some Kenneth fire. It was a warning, and it said it was a false alarm, and people were basically uniting off of the false alarm. Like, hey, did you get this evacuation notice? We should flip out and take whatever precious 10 things we have and evacuate. And it was called like some kind of Kenneth arsonist or something. So there were actually some arsonists out there too. And some psycho woman that showed up on some video. I don't know if they made it up or not, but I also saw a video of someone with a blowtorch walking around like the nice neighborhood, and then they took him down. And I mean, I think that guy should have got his ass beat, but like politely say like, hey, what are you doing with the blowtorch? I'm gonna take you down, and we're gonna take you to the police. Like, yeah, I could see that more of as like a straight up old fashioned ass beating right there, but whatever, I wasn't there, so maybe they made up the video too. But yeah, the fires isn't made up. I'm here. This is it really happened, but it was weird. Like, I'm in Rosemead, so then you would see ashes fall down, like ashes were falling on me like subtly, and it was creepy. And I was debating whether or not I should evacuate and go to Northern California, but I didn't, so I stayed here. It was kind of creepy, like The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock, of like they would see signs of the birds coming to take over the whole town, and then the birds took control of the town and got everybody to pretty much leave and be afraid. And it was kind of like that with the fire, but like the fire except for birds. So, and then Karen Bass, the mayor of L.A., heard she didn't approve for the funding of the fire department, or defunding, or I don't know the details, but she went to Africa and then came back on a trip and then came back, and they asked her about the fire, and then the video is her like speechless, like, I'm stupid, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Yeah, so hopefully Democrats can unite and be with each other to unite against their own mayor, the Democratic mayor. Now, I mean, there's like my uncle in New York. He said that Mayor Karen Bass is incompetent. It's like, okay, even the Democrats don't like the mayor. That's what's up. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't know any more details. A lot of people were really angry about her. So I went to the library in North Hollywood, across the street, and it's on Tahunga in North Hollywood. And then there's a picture of her framed in there. I'm like, man, this piece of shit didn't have any business being the mayor. But I even wrote a song about her. And here's the song: Karen Bass, dun, 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 can kiss my ass, dun, dun, dun. Karen Bass, dun, dun, dun. It's pretty good, right? Yeah. But yeah, we were on a level of devastation. I was actually in LA during the LA riots in like 1992. And then if you watch old school video footage of it with, looks like, VHS footage, is pretty cool. But even when that happened, I was in Studio City. I was in a nice area, and it wasn't like it was all over LA. It was just certain spots. So it's good to know. I mean, my cousin hit me up and he asked me if I'm okay, and the news is showing us the news, but is it in your area? And I'm like, nah, it's just real smoky and ashy, and it looks like dystopian, apocalyptic, creepy kind of. I sent him a picture of, this is what it looks like at the post office, and across the street it's just, real smoky and everything. So yeah, we're safe. So, and then here's my mom calling and texting like, I hope you're safe. Oh, my baby, I hope you're safe, my baby. And I'm thinking, like that doesn't help, I'm worried. I mean, you don't the world's not a safe place. So if we all burn, we get what we deserve, right? But it's nice that people care, right? Yeah. They're talking about the fire insurance, or was it homeowners insurance and fire insurance, and it was like no insurance company can cover that kind of damage and take care of you like on that level, of that astronomical level. So like my homie's house burned down, and his parents are lawyers, and then I don't know what they're gonna do, but he took it well. He was still happy on the inside. It wasn't like, okay, I lost my house, I lost this and that, and he was still good to go. And then another person I know, his parents in the Pacific Palisades, their house burned down, and another these people in a band that I know, actually met them a few months ago. Their house burned down, or their place in Altadena burned down, and they lost everything. So that sucks. So you can't say I didn't do anything. I did help a couple of people out. Like, I'm kind of broke, and I still got to do, take the opportunity to. And then there's this customer at Lyft, and talk about the fire, and he said, "Yeah, I came from the fire." And he came from Altadena, and then took him to get his medicine at the CVS or the Walgreens, and they took him back. But yeah, you meet people, and then one person says something that's kind of interesting about, like, he's like, yeah, I'm from LA, man. Like, I mean, they didn't have this fire thing until like 10 years ago. They didn't have this in the 90s. I mean, if you think about it, they had the fires going on in like 2010, but not in the 90s. We had heat waves, but we didn't have fires. And then we had like a North Hollywood arsonist when I lived there in 2010. And then it smelled like smoke in Hollywood. Like, my friend worked at the tattoo shop in Hollywood, and he was like, this fire fool is killing me. And some kind of psycho arsonist, they found him, I don't know. But that's when we lived in that NoHo Arts District on Lankershim. So then all these people are responding and donating, and which is good, but it's not like anybody's starving to death. But say your house burns down and you're rich and you still have a credit card and you can still go to the hotel or go stay and shack up with, you still have money to eat and whatever. But here's Jay Leno on TV. It's like, hey, Jay Leno came out and he drove a fire truck from Pasadena and helping people out, and that's great. But it's funny. Here's Jay Leno always like shows up in my life. He's like, okay, 1999, I'm on the Jay Leno show, and then some Armenians in class like the next day they're like, hey, we see you on the Jay Leno show. Hey, we saw Jay Leno one time, like we were in traffic, and then he pulls up, and then we're all like smoking weed, and we say, hey, Jay, want to smoke a Jay? And then here's Jay Leno, like when I live in Burbank, and then my roommate's boyfriend saw him at the Ralph's, and Bob's a big boy with the cars and the car shows. So here he is with the fire department. No, not the fire department. He's here like donating and helping out and cooking or whatever. And then no, like he burned his face or something working on the car, and then I was the first one to hear about it on the news. Actually, listened to the radio at Amazon, and then here's the radio station, and then here's Jay Leno again. Yeah. Still has a big chin. It's like chin has its own time zone, but it's funny that because like his birthday is the same as mine. It's literally the next day. It's like April 30th or something. It's Jay Leno's birthday. And he used to be funny though. Like I heard some stand-up comedy when he was in New York, like the early days, talking about like the safety on the plane, and then something about like the seatbelt issue, but then they give you these like sharp knives or something, or I mean it's not like a sharp knife, it's more of like a plastic knife they give you. It was something to do with that, but yeah. Here's what else though? That's pretty much it with the fire, and then now we're good, but then it's just like the reason it happened is because it was so dry out here, and then like the windstorm plus dry weather equals, the fire, sparks the fire. So scientifically, like, that's why that happened, but it didn't make sense that these beach houses burned down on PCH, and then I'll see some kind of like some burned down $15 million beach house, and then the house right next to it's good to go, and it didn't burn down, so that doesn't make sense to me. And they're talking about the insurance, and then you can't get, there's no way they can get it back and repair the damage, and then so we had the Buddhist relics like last week, so then here we are, like it rained on, because like rain is known as like an auspicious sign, so it rained on Saturday and Sunday of last week, Saturday at 10 at night, and then it's because of, coming from me, it's because of the Buddhist relics, and then it rained, and then here we are. So then it rained this week at Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then today, Saturday again. So then it's gonna rain again next week. Actually the same thing. Next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but it's gonna be a more dangerous storm, more severe storm. So I've been telling people at Lyft, like, yeah, it's gonna rain, and yeah, we need it. Yeah, we're grateful, and better than the fire, and yeah, I'm depressed, and yeah, okay. What else? Other news is, people are talking about Trump a lot, and the immigration issue. That's the big deal, and I think that got people kind of bummed out and ripping up families apart. And ISIS is gonna come. Like, you see this graffiti everywhere. It's just like fuck ICE, fuck Trump. Like, it's on this like on the not on the billboards, but on the freeway bridges and stuff. You see that a lot, and it was on the news. What else? A lot of there's the trans athletes, controversial news about there's only two genders, and the trans athletes that's going on. I don't know why the hell you would want to do that, but I mean, yeah. I think I thought, like, for Trump, if he went on TV and then said if he dressed up like a woman and said his name was Donna Trump, then that would turn people off, and then you would hear less about the trans like issues, because the way he's going, he's extreme, and then that's another extreme issue. It's like two extremes. So then, if he met them halfway, then they wouldn't be as extreme. You'd see less of that. Always teaching kids this stuff in school, and then makes me not want to have kids too. It's confusing as hell. And he's talking about like the lunacy of everything. So, like, let's pretend that he dressed up like a woman and be like, "I am now Donna Trump, the president," and then they'd be like, "Oh, well, damn, that sucks. I don't want to be trans anymore because I hate Trump. So I'm gonna be like the straight masculine male now, So yeah, I just solved the problem, but he's not gonna do that. He doesn't have the balls to do that. The thing that pisses me off about Trump is like when he was president, like in 2016, he didn't come to LA. I think he came to LA like twice because LA in general doesn't like Trump. I mean, you can find people here and there, and you can find like a lot of Latinos that are for him and a lot of Asians too, actually. But in general, that's what I'm saying. But when he came back and now he came back to help the fire of like, I don't know the numbers, but it was like $1 billion budget to help the fires. And then he was acting like he saved the damn day, but there's more to it than that, So there's some video I watched of like him and Karen Bass, and I was like, okay, I'm watching two con artists right here, two con people. I want to be manipulated today. And now I'm on some like non-voter trip right now, which I guess it doesn't help, but it's all about me like having like peace of mind in myself before I go out into the real world anyway. So yeah, it's confusing, I know, but here we are. What else? There's going to be episode 31 of the podcast coming soon. I didn't stop, but just took a break for like a month because of guest or content. So current music, Exhumed, Slaughter Cult, been listening to that since year 2000. I met Matt Harvey from Exhumed and told him about like we saw him on that tour, and he's like, "Dude, that's not even old school. That's just fucking old." So then that's actually one of the best metal shows I've ever seen. Like, drank blood out of a skull, and the bass player puked on stage. And then I actually met somebody in Oakland that heard about that, and I said, "Yeah, we saw him do that." And yeah, that was that's what I'm listening to. It sounds decent in the car from how it's set up. So I think it was that was actually Amazon Music. You can get like good quality from that. Like, it's like $11 a month. Current film, Shadow of a Doubt, 1948, Alfred Hitchcock, starring Joseph Cotton and Teresa Wright. It was known as Hitchcock's favorite film. I don't know if I said something about it on my podcast, L.A. Chronicles, before, but I'll say it again. Yeah, that's one of my favorites too, actually. I mean, I keep that in my collection, and for it to be that old and to still be that entertaining, and it was filmed in Santa Rosa, California. I think it's an hour away from San Francisco, and I haven't been there yet, but I'm waiting for the chance. And Hitchcock liked it because it brought menace to a small town, So it was a small, like a quaint kind of town. It kind of reminded me of Marion, where I'm from, which is small town, like 7,000 people. I actually met someone from. No, he went to a bed and breakfast in Marion, and then I was working in like West Hollywood over there, and I took him to the mall. But I also want to give a recommendation to the pizza shop I tried. Actually, I think that day it was Prince Street Pizza in West Hollywood on Sunset, and they also have other locations on in Studio City, Pasadena, downtown LA, and I think San Diego. There's one, and then there's a drive-by one which they tried out where the famous Arby's is on Sunset, where my friend's son used to work at, actually. And then they're from New York, and then they actually have one in Miami too. So they did not pay me to say that. I thought it was an excellent pizza shop, and I'll give it an A+, and definitely my top 5. So try them out if you're in LA, New York, or Miami. There's one in Chicago too. So yeah, definitely be going back there again. Can't wait. So stay tuned for the next episode, and thank you, everyone.